Have you ever felt it? That quiet ache inside, that haunting question beneath the surface of your daily life? You follow the rules. You try harder. You say the affirmations, light the candles, repeat the words. But something still doesn't shift. It's as if you're pressing your hands against an invisible wall, one that doesn't yield no matter how hard you try. And in the stillness that follows, a whisper begins to rise, not from outside, but from somewhere much deeper, a place before thought, before language. It asks, what if energy doesn't obey action, but alignment? This is not just philosophy. It is an ancient truth hidden in plain sight. Long before our world was filled with noise, there was stillness. And in that stillness lived the oldest wisdom. The kind that isn't learned, but remembered. It was Thoth, called the Lord of Time, the scribe of the gods, the voice behind all creation, who carried this secret through centuries. He did not shout it from temples. He encoded it in silence, in vibration, in sacred geometry and breath. Not to control reality, but to remember how to move with it. You were never meant to struggle with the universe. You were meant to tune into it. Most people live as though life must be pushed into place, like reality is a wall to break through. But what if it's more like a mirror? A precise, impartial field that reflects not what you wish, but what you are. Beneath the words you speak, beneath the actions you take, there is a silent frequency. That frequency, your vibration, is the true language of creation, and the universe listens to it with perfect clarity. This is where Thoth's greatest secret begins, not with effort, but with coherence, not with doing, but with being. His alchemy had nothing to do with melting metals or crafting gold. That was the metaphor. The real transmutation? Turning fear into stillness, turning resistance into flow, turning separation into sacred unity. You are not just here to observe this. You are here to become it, but to begin, you must pause. You must soften. You must return to the space beneath your identity, beneath the stories, the names, the noise. There, in that inner sanctuary, the flame of remembrance still burns. Faint, perhaps, hidden, but alive, waiting. And so, this is your invitation, not to learn something new, but to awaken something ancient. You are not here by accident. If your breath slowed, if your heart stirred, if something deep inside whispered yes as you read these words, then you have already answered the call. The remembering has begun, and the flame is waiting. The invisible pulse, understanding the language of energy. There is a pulse beneath everything you see, not a heartbeat, not a rhythm of time, but a vibration. A silent hum that sings the world into being. The trees, the sky, the breath in, your lungs. All of it is not solid, not separate. It is vibration slowed into form, and yet most people walk through life deaf to it, blind to it, moving as though the world is made of bricks and edges instead of waves and light. But you are here because something inside you already knows. You felt it. That strange sense that the world is more fluid than it appears. That time bends. That thoughts ripple outwards. That your very presence can change the room. It's not imagination, it's not coincidence, it's vibration and it's real. Thoth called it the science of the invisible. He taught that the universe does not respond to words, to rituals, to effort. It responds to frequency. And frequency isn't something you shout, it's something you are. Most people try to control life with force. They push harder, speak louder, try more techniques, repeat more mantras, thinking that if they just do enough, say enough, act enough, something will shift. But energy is not moved by force. It is moved by coherence, like a delicate, stringed instrument. The universe responds only when your inner strings are in tune. This is the invisible pulse. Everything you feel, everything you think, every belief you carry vibrates. Not metaphorically, literally. Your emotions emit fields. Your memories send out waves. Your subconscious hums quietly beneath your smile, shaping the energy around you without a single word. That is why things often don't change, even when you try. You can tell yourself you're ready. You can say the right things. But if your internal field is still confused, heavy, afraid, the energy around you mirrors that confusion back to you. Not as punishment, but as a message, a perfect reflection. This is not mystical poetry, and this is sacred physics. The energy that builds your life doesn't respond to what you say out loud. It responds to the tone beneath your breath, the silence between your words, the frequency of your essence. And the universe listens always with impossible precision. Have you ever wondered why certain places feel heavy? Why certain people drain you? Why some moments feel charged with something you can't explain? It is all vibration. And whether you're aware of it or not, you are constantly transmitting. You are a field, not a body with energy, but energy with a body. And that energy field, your auric architecture, is shaping your entire experience. Every interaction, every opportunity, every so-called coincidence. Your field is not passive. It is not background noise. It is the brush that paints your reality. And if that brush is muddy, filled with fear, tension, self-doubt, what it paints will mirror that. That's why things stay the same. That's why patterns repeat. Because energy does not respond to desire. It responds to clarity. Thoth taught his initiates this. Do not speak the words if the field does not match. For the gods do not hear the mouth, they hear the heart. The gods, meaning the field, the matrix, the consciousness that holds all things. So what happens when your field is misaligned? You may speak of trust but carry fear. You may seek love but emit guilt. You may desire abundance but vibrate scarcity. And the field, always fair, gives you exactly what you are, not what you want. This is why ancient teachers spoke of purification, not of the body, not of behavior, but of frequency. To purify is not to become perfect. It is to become clear, to become tuned, to become a vessel through which energy can flow without distortion. When you are aligned, when your body, your mind, and your emotions hum the same tone, the field responds instantly. Not because you earned it, not because you performed, but because you finally stopped interfering. You see, energy does not need to be commanded, it needs to be cleared for. Think of a river. It doesn't flow because you push it. It flows when nothing blocks its path. Your field is the same. Energy, opportunity, grace, they're always flowing. But your unresolved patterns, your internal noise, act like rocks and dams in the stream. And so the first step to true transformation is not to manifest harder. It is to tune yourself to the vibration you seek, to feel it, to breathe it, to live it before you ever see it. Because you don't attract what you say you want. You attract what you are a vibrational match to. Let this truth settle into you. Let it sink beyond your mind, into your chest, into your breath, into your spine. You are not broken, you are not behind. You are simply out of tune with the power that already lives inside you. And the good news? That tuning can begin right now. You don't need incense. You don't need crystals. You don't need the approval of anyone else. You just need presence.
Awareness, stillness, and the courage to feel what's really vibrating inside of you without judgment, because when you listen honestly to your own field,
you gain the power to reshape it, and from there, the world begins to change. Practical exercise. Silent frequency tuning. Find a quiet space, sit down with your spine tall and your hands resting gently on your lap. Close your eyes. Take a deep, conscious breath in through your nose, and as you exhale through your mouth, let go of any tension in your shoulders, face, or stomach. Now, ask yourself, what am I truly vibrating right now? Don't analyze. Don't name it. Just
feel.
Is your breath shallow or deep? Is your chest open or guarded? Does your body feel light or heavy? Let whatever arises come without resistance. Now begin to breathe into your field, not just into your lungs, but into the energetic space around your body. Feel your breath softening the edges, calming the chaos. With each breath, allow a clearer vibration to emerge, peace, stillness, neutrality. Stay in this state for at least 3 minutes. When you're ready, open your eyes slowly and carry that subtle clarity with you. Let your day be the extension of your frequency, not a reaction to the world. The sacred mirror. As within, so without, look around you. Everything you see, the people, the places, the circumstances, seems to exist independently, doesn't it? The noise of traffic, the weight of bills, the tension in conversations, the unpredictability of life. It all feels like it's happening to you, as if the universe is some distant, indifferent force deciding what you deserve. But what if it's not? What if none of it is random? What if life is not happening to you, but happening through you? This is not metaphor. This is one of the oldest and most powerful laws ever spoken. It was etched into the walls of temples and whispered by sages long before the first books were ever written. As within, so without. As above, so below. As the soul, so the universe. This was Thoth's sacred truth of the mirror law of reality. You see, life doesn't reflect what you want. It reflects what you are, and what you are is not the mask you wear or the thoughts you think. What you are is the frequency you carry when no one is watching. It is the sum total of your emotional residue, your belief structures, your unconscious programs, your felt truth. Imagine this. You're standing in front of a perfect mirror. You don't like the reflection, so you try to fix it. Not by adjusting yourself, but by shouting at the mirror, waving your hands, trying to paint over the glass. Sounds absurd, doesn't it? And yet this is what most of us do with life, or we try to fix our relationships, our careers, our finances without ever turning inward. We chase surface solutions, perform rituals, say the words, light the candles, but we never ask the real question, what within me is this moment reflecting? You see, the external world is not a wall. It is not fixed or solid. It is a mirror made of energy. Subtle, sensitive, impartial.
It doesn't reward or punish. It reflects flawlessly. And when we ignore that, we stay trapped in cycles of frustration and confusion. But when we remember, when we dare to look into the sacred mirror, we reclaim our power. Thoth taught
that every experience is a revelation of inner frequency. He told his initiates, to change the outer, you must transmute the inner. Nothing else lasts. Nothing else is real. So if you are constantly meeting resistance, if doors remain Closed, if life feels heavy, it is not life that is broken. It is the reflection of something unresolved within your field, something asking not for shame, but for awareness. This is not about blame, it's about sovereignty. Because if the outer world is only a reflection, then your reality is not determined by fate. It's shaped by the clarity of your inner vibration. That means the power to transform your experience has been in your hands all along. But here's the challenge. Most of your field is unconscious. You don't consciously choose what you vibrate. You emit what you carry. Old memories, unprocessed grief, hidden guilt, limiting beliefs absorbed in childhood. All of it lives in your field, humming quietly beneath your words, shaping the reflection without your awareness. That's why things repeat, why cycles return, because the vibration remains unchanged. But once you begin to see the outer world as a mirror, once you stop blaming and start reflecting, everything starts to shift. The world becomes your teacher. Every person your mirror. Every situation your clue, that argument with your partner. It reflects a disowned emotion, that scarcity in your finances, a mirror of unconscious lack, that opportunity that keeps slipping away, a vibration of fear, doubt, or unworthiness hiding in your field. And the beauty of this is, when you shift within, the reflection has no choice. It changes without, not slowly, instantly, but not because you forced it, because you became a vibrational match to something new. It's like tuning a radio. You can't hear the new song until you change the frequency, but once you do, the station is already there, waiting for you. So the real work, the sacred work, is not to fix the mirror, it's to clear the lens, to purify the field, to return to a frequency of wholeness, presence, and coherence. This is how real alchemy begins, not in the laboratory, but in the emotional body. Not with outer rituals, but with inner honesty. And it begins now, with you, so breathe and let yourself remember you are not separate from the world around you. You are not a passenger in some distant universe. You are the projector and the screen, the vibration and the result, the source and the scene. And if the outside isn't what you want, change the broadcast, not the picture. Practical exercise. Mirror journaling. Reflecting the field, find a quiet moment with a notebook and pen. Close your eyes and bring to mind one recurring pattern in your life. A struggle, frustration, or limitation that keeps showing up. Breathe into it. Feel it. Without judgment. Now ask yourself, if this situation is a mirror, what is it reflecting in me? Write freely. Let your unconscious speak. Don't censor or correct. Explore. What emotions are tied to this pattern? What beliefs may be underneath it? When did I first feel this way? What might my field be emitting without my awareness? Then ask, what would I need to shift within me to change this reflection? End your journaling with a sentence of intention. I now choose to shift my vibration to reflect. Close the notebook. Breathe in that new intention. Then, as you move through your day, notice, not with effort, but with curiosity, how the outer mirror begins to shift. The temple of the body, alchemy in flesh and breath, 1-300 words. Your body is not an accident. It is not a container you wear, not a cage for your soul, not a biological machine meant only for movement and decay. No, it is sacred, ancient, a living temple crafted with divine intelligence, designed not just to survive, But to transmit this truth was known by the old ones. The mystery schools of Egypt did not ignore the body in favor of spirit. They revered it. Thoth taught that the body was the gateway, not the obstacle. That matter was not the enemy of spirit, but its mirror, its extension, its instrument. Your body is an alchemical vessel, a temple of vibration. Every breath you take, every gesture you make, every pulse within your skin is not just biology, it is frequency. You are always sending a message, not in words, but in subtle waves. And the universe, with impossible precision, responds not to your posture, but to the frequency within it. And so the question becomes, what is your body vibrating right now? Not what are you saying, not what are you thinking, but what are you embodying? You can say, I trust 1,000 times, but if your jaw is clenched, your chest is tight, your breath is shallow, your body tells a different story. And the energy field listens to the body. You can speak of love, of abundance,
of peace. But if your shoulders carry weight, if your movements are rushed, if your spine curls with tension, your field vibrates misalignment.
And misalignment creates static, the kind that confuses the mirror of reality and scatters your intentions before they ever land. But when the body is clear, when the breath is calm, the hands are soft, the spine is tall, you become a tuning fork for divine rhythm. This is what Thoth taught, that the body is not just a house of organs and muscles, it is a sacred transmitter, an antenna tuned to the frequencies of higher realms. And when you inhabit it fully, you return a coherence, you return to truth. But modern life has taught you the opposite. It has trained you to live in your mind, to treat your body like a tool, something to fix, manipulate, decorate, or ignore. So we leave it, we float above it, we disassociate. And in doing so, we abandon the one place where transformation truly begins. You cannot realign energy if you are not present in your vessel, because your vessel is the altar. It is where intention becomes motion, where stillness becomes frequency, where the formless enters form. Every movement you make sends a wave into the field. Every breath you release carries a message into the unseen. Thoth knew this. That's why in the ancient temples movement was ritual. Gesture was sacred. Even walking was done with presence. Every step aligned the initiate to the rhythm of the cosmos, not as performance, but as embodiment. And you can return to this sacred embodiment now, not by becoming perfect, not by mastering yoga or dance or ritual, but by inhabiting your body like it is a divine temple. Because it is. When you touch something with reverence, when you stand in stillness, when you breathe deeply with presence, your field begins to organize itself automatically, effortlessly, because the body doesn't lie and the body doesn't delay, it reveals. In seconds, it reveals what the mind hides. That is why the most honest form of vibrational diagnosis is not what you think, but how you move. Notice it now. How are you sitting? Are your feet grounded? Is your chest collapsed or open? Are your hands soft or tight? Is your breath flowing or stuck? These are not small details, they are the code. Thoth taught that every gesture is a circuit, every motion, a sigil. The hands, the gaze, the spine, all of them are instruments of frequency. Used with intention, they become a spell, a prayer, a transmission. That's why in ancient Egypt, priests and initiates were taught specific postures, not to please the gods, but to tune their own field. They understood that the body, when aligned, could open portals, not with effort, but with presence. So how do you begin? You begin not by adding more to your routine. You begin by doing what you already do, differently. You wake up with awareness. You stand with reverence. You breathe as if the breath itself is sacred. You place your hand on your heart, not to perform, but to return. Because alchemy does not begin with the world. It begins with the body, with how you carry yourself through space, with how you speak without speaking. And when your body begins to vibrate clarity, when every cell aligns with your intention, something astonishing happens. Your field becomes undeniable. People feel you before you speak. Opportunities move toward you without effort. The reflection in the mirror of life softens and begins to shift. Not because you forced it, but because you embodied it. You became the transmission, and from that place, life flows. Practical, somatic exercise, embodiment of intention. Find a private space where you can stand and move freely. No distractions, no performance. Just presence. Begin by standing still. Let your arms fall naturally. Close your eyes. Take 5 slow,
conscious breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth.
Let each exhale soften your jaw, shoulders, and hands. Now bring to mind a vibration you wish to embody today, kya? Perhaps calm, confidence, trust, clarity. Don't just think about it, feel it. What posture does that vibration want? How would that frequency stand, walk, breathe gently? Begin to move as that vibration. Slowly. No choreography, no judgment. Just allow your body to express the energy of what you seek. Let your breath match the movement. Let your spine lift. Let your feet press into the ground as if blessing the earth. Now bring your hands together in front of your heart. Whisper silently or aloud, I embody the vibration I choose to live. Pause in that stillness. Feel the field shifting. Feel your presence deepening. Feel the sacred technology of your body, remembering. Then return to your day, not as a mind trying to control life, but as a body radiating alignment. You are the temple. You are the channel. You are the breath of the divine pay in motion. The mind as architect, thought as the first old. What if I told you the world around you began inside your head? Not in some metaphorical New Age sense, but in a literal, vibrational way. What you think, what you believe, what you imagine, in the privacy of your inner world doesn't just affect your emotions, it shapes your field, and your field shapes your reality. The mind, Thoth said, is not just a tool, Satya, it is the first mold of matter. Before anything becomes physical, it exists as thought. Before the wall, there was the blueprint. Before the word, there was the idea. Before your reality, there was your vibration, built silently by the mind. You are not just thinking randomly, you are constructing energetically. Each thought is like a stroke on the architecture of your life. Each belief is a brick in the unseen temple of your experience. Most people believe their thoughts vanish into the void, forgotten, meaningless. But energy doesn't forget, the universe doesn't discard, it listens. Every repeated thought, every mental image laced with emotion, every silent declaration begins to solidify into your energetic field. And your field is not passive, it is the projection screen of the mind. That's why Thoth said, the universe is mental, not to confuse but to reveal that the foundation of everything you see is thought. But not just any thought. Not the mindless, fleeting chatter that dances across your surface. No. Reality is shaped by the thoughts you feel, the thoughts you believe, the ones that echo in your chest when no one else is around. That's why so many people feel stuck, not because life is broken, but because their minds are looping the same frequencies every day. Worry, doubt, fear, guilt, over and over. And those thoughts don't just stay inside, they radiate. They become the tone of your aura, the vibration of your interactions, the subtle structure that tells the universe, this is who I am, reflect this back to me. And the universe, always fair, always honest, reflects it without delay. This is why changing your life begins with changing your thought field, not forcing yourself to think positively, but that's just makeup on the mirror, but truly tuning into the vibration behind the thought. Is it clear, or is it coated in fear? Is it rooted in presence or dripping with resistance? Your mind is not your enemy, but it is often untrained. You were never taught to command it. You were taught to obey it. From childhood, you were conditioned to believe that your thoughts are you, that every story your mind tells is the truth. But that is not true. Your mind is a river, and you are the one who decides whether to swim, to drift, or to stand on the bank and watch it flow. The problem is, most minds are on autopilot, constantly running, repeating, reacting, and every time a thought is repeated with emotion, it deepens the groove, it becomes more dominant in the field, and soon that groove becomes your baseline. Your reality follows. But here's the secret Thoth passed on to his initiates. The mind can be taught to obey the soul. It can be cleared. It can be purified. It can be directed with sacred intention, but only when you stop feeding it noise. Think about how many inputs your mind receives in a day. Notifications, advertisements, conversations, unconscious worries, invisible fears. Each one leaves a trace, a thread, a vibration. And those vibrations become clutter, crowding the space where divine thought, pure, clear, creative, could once arise. To reclaim your mental field is to reclaim your life. Because thought is not private. It is transmission and the strongest. Thoughts are not the ones you speak aloud. They are the ones you carry silently, day after day. The thoughts you fall asleep with. The thoughts that rise the moment you open your eyes. The thoughts that play in the background while you smile, while you work, while you speak of peace, but quietly vibrate fear. This is where the real work begins. Not in controlling thought, but in becoming aware of it. In learning to listen to your own mental field without reacting, to sit with your thoughts like an ancient scribe and observe what scripts you've been running, what spells you've been unconsciously casting, what future you've been architecting without even
knowing it. Because here's the truth. Thought is creative magic.
It is the raw ingredient of form. When combined with feeling and belief, it becomes a command to the field, not a request, a command. That's why Thoth taught not to speak too soon, not to declare too casually, because every thought you accept begins to mold your vibrational reality. The mind is the chisel. Your field is the stone. What you think carves the shape of what you live, but this is not a warning. It is a liberation. Because if you created your current reality through unconscious thought, you can recreate it with conscious thought, not through repetition alone, but through presence, through clarity, through choosing thoughts that feel like truth, not like escape. The mind, when tuned, becomes a vessel for the divine. It begins to mirror higher intelligence. It opens to vision, to intuition, to insight. And when you think from that place, from silence, from soul, your thoughts become pure vibration, clear, potent, magnetic. You don't need 1,000 thoughts, you need one clear one, vibrating in full coherence. And in that clarity, the field aligns. Reality reorganizes. Form follows frequency, always. Practical exercise, thought stream. Mapping, find a quiet moment with your journal. Close your eyes and take 3 deep, grounding breaths. Then ask yourself, what thought has been living inside me this week? Not the thought you want to have, but the one that repeats. The one that hums beneath the surface. Write it down. Now explore. What emotion is connected to this thought? Does this thought expand me or contract me? If this thought were shaping my reality, what would it be building? Then choose a new thought. Not a fake one. Not a positive lie, but a clearer truth. Something like, I am safe in my clarity. My energy shapes all things. I think as a vessel of divine intelligence. Write it slowly. Breathe into it. Feel it. Let it land. Then carry that thought as a tone, not just in your mind, but in your chest, your breath, your presence. Let it become your new architectural mold. Let it shape what comes next. The word as command. Heka and the sacred sound. There is a moment just before you speak when everything is still. A pause, a space, a silence so vast it could hold the entire universe, and then a sound, a word, a vibration. And in that
moment, you are no longer silent, you are a creator. This is no small act. Speech is not just communication, it is creation. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between your inner vibration and the field that surrounds you.
in the ancient temples of Egypt, this was known as Heka, not merely magic, but vibrational authority, the sacred force behind sound that carries the power to shape matter. Thoth was its master. He understood what most have forgotten, that the word is not just noise. It is a command, a beam of energy aimed directly into the fabric of reality. And when that word is spoken from coherence, when it is born from alignment between the body, mind, and heart, it moves the unseen. It shapes the field. It bends the world, but not every word creates. Most words today are empty, casual, repeated without thought, spoken without soul. We fill our days with chatter, declarations, apologies, affirmations, complaints, all of them diluted by repetition and disconnected from the truth of the moment. And so the field does not move. The mirror remains the same, because energy, like a wise listener, does not respond to words alone. It responds to what's behind them. How many times have you said, "I'm fine," when you were not? How often
have you declared faith with trembling breath? Have you whispered love with a clenched jaw, or promised clarity while swimming in confusion?
You see, the universe hears the whole of you, not just your words. It hears the tone beneath your voice, the tension in your chest, the silence between your sentences, and it responds only to coherence. If your speech is disconnected from your field, the energy doesn't move. The word falls flat like a spell cast without intention. This is why Thoth taught his initiates to speak with reverence. They did not speak until their vibration matched their intent. They did not declare until their chest was clear. They did not chant until their field was still. Because when you speak from a fragmented place, your word loses its direction. It disperses into noise. But when you speak from stillness, when your body, mind, and heart are all saying the same thing, the word becomes Heka, living, radiant magic. Sound is not just sound. It is frequency in motion. It is structured vibration. It is the most immediate way to influence the invisible. That's why a scream can cut through the air like a blade. Why a single sentence can comfort a soul. Why a whisper can shift your entire state of being. The power is not in the sound itself, but in the energy it carries. Your voice is a tuning fork, your tongue a wand, your words spells. And the moment you begin to treat your speech with this sacred awareness, your field begins to respond. Reality bends not to your will, but to your vibrational command. But here's the key. The word must be born from the heart. If your voice says one thing and your body says another, the energy listens to the body. If your mouth says, "I trust," but your gut clenches in fear, the field hears the fear. It is not personal. It is simply law, the law of resonance. This is why so many affirmations fail. Not because the words are wrong, but because the speaker is not with them. You can repeat, "I am abundant," 100 times, but if your frequency is scarcity, the affirmation becomes friction. It creates static, not flow. The true power of the word lies in coherence. When your presence is aligned, when your heart is warm, when your breath is steady, one single sentence is enough. One declaration spoken in truth can open timelines, can shift probability fields, can call reality into form. And you've felt it, haven't you? That one sentence from someone that stayed with you for years. That one phrase that pierced through all the noise. That moment when someone spoke not from the mind, but from the soul. And you felt it in your bones. That was not just a statement. That was Heka. That was a living word. This is the language of the gods. Not because it is complex, but because it is alive, and it is your birthright to speak this way, not just to others, but to yourself. Because the most powerful spells are the ones you cast inside your own mind, the way you speak to your own reflection, the words you use when no one else is listening. These shape your vibration more than anything else. If you speak to yourself with shame, judgment, comparison, your field contracts, your energy becomes confused. But when you speak to yourself with reverence, compassion, clarity, your field becomes whole. And the universe reflects wholeness back to you. This is why silence, too, is sacred. Because sometimes silence says more than words ever could. Silence reveals what cannot be masked. In silence, the field speaks clearly. And when you can hold silence with peace, your words, when they finally come, will carry that same peace, that same alignment. So speak less, but with more presence. Let your voice emerge from stillness. Let your words carry your truth, not your performance. Because in a world of noise, truth cuts through like lightning. And when you speak from alignment, when your word is not just spoken but embodied, the universe listens and it obeys. Practical exercise. Speaking the field, find a quiet room. Light a candle if you like. Not as a ritual, but as a symbol of attention. Stand in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes. Not to analyze, not to judge, but to witness. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath soften. Place your hand over your heart. Now ask yourself, what is the clearest truth I can speak to myself right now? Wait for the answer. Let it rise. Let it surprise you. Then speak it out loud, slowly, clearly. Feel the words not just in your throat, but in your chest, your hands, your spine. Repeat it again, only if it still feels true. Now close your eyes. Whisper that truth one last time, not with effort, but with presence. Let it enter the field like a soft ripple, then go back into the world and let your life become the echo of your word. Because your word is not just sound, it is your signature in vibration. Use it wisely. Use it as Thoth did, and not to impress, not to control, but to create. The great silence where creation begins. There is a place where sound ends, where the words fall away, where the noise of the world dissolves into nothing. A place so quiet that most people never hear it, not because it is far, but because it is too close, too intimate, too revealing. That place is silence, and in the ancient teachings of Thoth, silence was not emptiness. It was origin, the seed of all sound, the womb of all creation, the beginning before the beginning. We've been taught to fear silence, conditioned to fill it, distracted away from it. We scroll, we talk, we perform, we move fast enough to avoid hearing what might rise up if we stop. Because deep down we know silence speaks truth. It reflects what you're really vibrating. It removes the mask. It doesn't listen to what you say. It listens to what you are. But this is exactly why silence is sacred, because while words shape your world, silence reveals it. When you enter silence intentionally, something ancient begins to stir. The layers you wear and the names, the roles, the beliefs begin to melt. And what remains is not nothingness. It is presence, a deep, steady pulse of being that holds more intelligence than 1,000 thoughts. Thoth taught that the greatest rituals were not spoken. They were held in silence, because silence has no confusion, no contradiction. It doesn't pretend, it doesn't resist, it doesn't fragment, it simply holds the vibration that is, and in doing so it shows you, in perfect clarity, what lives inside your field. This is why the deepest transformations often begin not with action, but with stillness. Not with saying something new, but with becoming quiet enough to feel what was always there. We often think that creating change means doing more, speaking more, moving more. But the true initiates knew creation begins in the quiet. The field, the energetic matrix that shapes your reality, is not activated by noise. It is reorganized by clarity, and clarity lives in silence. It is in silence that you first feel the subtle misalignment of your inner field, that slight tightness in the chest when you think of trust, that flicker of doubt behind your affirmations, that quiet sadness beneath your smile. These things go unnoticed when you're rushing, but in silence they appear, gently, precisely, and once seen they can be healed, because healing begins in awareness, and awareness begins in stillness. That is why so many mystical traditions across the world speak of silence as the language of the divine, not because silence is an escape, but because in silence the divine finally has space to speak back. You were not made to fill every moment with noise. You were made to listen, but not just with your ears, with your field, with your breath, with your presence. When you enter silence deeply, not just by being quiet, but by becoming still, your vibration begins to reorganize. The scattered fragments of energy begin to return home. The noise of thought softens, the contraction of the body loosens, the confusion clears, and in that soft, lucid state, energy begins to move, not because you pushed, but because you made space. This is where real power begins, not in force, but in receptivity. Thoth called this the alignment of the field, a state where no part of you is trying to escape the moment, where your breath, your body, your mind are all in the same room, vibrating the same truth. In that moment, silence becomes more powerful than any mantra, any affirmation, any ritual, because silence, when held in presence, carries the highest frequency of all. It is the space in which energy remembers where it came from. And yet so many people avoid it, because silence is confronting. It strips away the noise you hide behind. It invites the emotions you've buried, the fears you've silenced, the stories you repeat. In silence, all of this rises, not to punish you, but to liberate you. This is the sacred paradox. Silence is not empty. It is full. It is where your soul sits waiting, just beneath the static. Not trying to be heard, just being. And when you sit in silence long enough, you begin to remember. You remember that you are not your name, not your role, not your history. You are a field, a vibration, a spark. You are energy with memory, light with intention. And that remembering begins to shift everything, because when you no longer need to speak to prove your truth, you become your truth. When you no longer need to convince or declare, you begin to emit. You shift from force to frequency, from noise to resonance, from anxiety to presence. And in that shift, you become magnetic, potent, clear. This is why throughout history, the greatest masters spoke little, not because they lacked wisdom, but because their presence carried it. Their silence said more than words ever could. Their stillness transmitted truth without effort. Their vibration entered the room before their body did. That's not charisma, that's coherence. And it is available to you, done by changing who you are, but by removing what you are not. You do not need to become louder. You need to become quieter. Inwardly, you do not need to speak more truth. You need to remove the noise that hides it, because silence, held with awareness, is the most honest mirror. And once you become still enough to look into it, you don't just see your reflection, you see your real self. Clear, timeless, whole. Practical exercise, sacred stillness, practice. Find a place where you can be undisturbed for 10 minutes. Turn off your phone. Dim the light. Sit comfortably, with your spine upright but not rigid. Let your hands rest on your lap. Close your eyes. Begin to breathe slowly, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let your breath be natural. No control. Just observation. Now, do nothing. Don't repeat a mantra. Don't try to relax. Don't reach for any thought. Simply sit. Let whatever arises, arise. Thoughts may come. Emotions may surface. That's okay. Watch them as clouds passing. Let them move without grabbing them. After a few minutes, notice. Where is your attention? Where is your breath? Where in your body are you holding tension? Release it. Without effort, with softness. Stay in this silence, this living silence, for the full 10 minutes. Then before you open your eyes, ask yourself, what does my energy feel like now? Don't answer with words. Just feel. That is your real frequency. Let that be what leads you forward today. Not your plans, not your noise, but your stillness, because silence is not the absence of power. It is the space where power is born. The fire of the heart, love as the alchemical flame. There is a fire that does not burn the skin. It does not rage. It does not consume. It glows quietly, hidden beneath the ribs, waiting, ancient, eternal, undemanding. This fire is not seen with the eyes, yet its warmth can be felt across distance, across time, even across silence. It is the fire of the heart, and in the teachings of Thoth, this flame was not metaphor. It was the true center of alchemy, not the laboratory, not the
mind, not the ritual,
but the heart, the sacred furnace where all transformation begins. You were born with this fire, but somewhere along the way the world taught you to dim it, to shield it, to mistrust it, to hide it behind logic, behind defense, behind performance. You were taught that love makes you weak, that softness makes you vulnerable, that your fire should only burn if someone else deserves its warmth. But Thoth taught the opposite. He said that the heart is not the place of weakness. It is the seat of power. It is the only chamber in your body where the divine and the human meet in constant rhythm. Your heart doesn't wait for your permission to beat. It moves in perfect tempo, reminding you with every pulse that you are alive, that you are here, that the flame is still burning, and this fire is not just a physical pulse, it is vibrational. It extends far beyond your chest, creating the largest electromagnetic field in your body, more powerful than even your brain. It is this field that speaks to the universe, this field that shapes your interactions, this field that tells the mirror of reality, here I am. Reflect this. When your heart is open, the fire flows, and everything changes, not because your words changed, not because your posture shifted, but because your field became coherent. And coherence is the secret geometry of creation. It is the state where your breath, your thought, your emotion, and your energy all sing the same note. And when that note is love, not attachment, not control, not performance, but pure, silent, radiant love, the world around you bends to meet it. But here is the truth that most avoid that kind of love. Starts within, not as an idea, not as a mantra, but as vibration. You cannot transmit what you refuse to give yourself. You cannot expect love from others while emitting resentment toward your own reflection. You cannot demand warmth from the universe while carrying coldness in your field. The fire of the heart does not obey desire. It obeys presence. When you sit with yourself fully, when you breathe into your own ribs, soften your own gaze, forgive your own wounds, the fire flickers. Then it grows. Then it returns. Not with drama, but with depth. A quiet heat.
a holy warmth. That is the fire Thoth spoke of, the kind that doesn't scream. It radiates. It does not seek. It shines. It does not burn others. It heals you first, and then those around you, without effort, without words, just by the purity of its tone, because the heart is not just a pump. It is a portal. It is the fusion point between soul and flesh, between light and matter. And when this center is lit, you don't need to force anything. You simply become magnetic. The things that belong to you begin to find you, not because
You chased them, but because you became the vibration they respond to. Love in its truest form is not romance. It is not emotion. It is order. It is intelligence. It is the harmonizing frequency of the cosmos, and your heart is its conductor. This is why all true healing begins with the heart, because the heart remembers. When the mind forgets, when the body stiffens, the heart still knows. It remembers your wholeness. It remembers your essence. And when you return to it, even for a moment, everything begins to reorganize around its warmth. But love is not something you perform. It is not something you force. It is not an aesthetic. It is an inner alignment. You do not find love, you return
to it. You become it. And in becoming it, you create the very reflection the world sends back. But why is it so hard to stay in that space? Because most hearts have been wounded, cracked by betrayal,
scorched by abandonment, frozen by rejection. And so we build walls, we speak from the mind to protect the flame. But what we don't realize is that every wall we build to keep pain out also blocks the fire from getting out. The world doesn't feel us. We don't feel the world and we call it safety, but there is no safety in separation. The only real security is in presence, and presence only lives in the heart. So how do you begin again? Not by breaking the walls, but by warming them, by offering your own presence, your own breath, your own forgiveness, not because someone else asked for it, but because you deserve to feel whole again. Love is not something to earn. It is something to allow. And the more you allow, the more the fire grows. Not in chaos, not in need, but in calm radiance. Like a hearth in the night, drawing near those who are ready, guiding back the pieces of yourself that wandered, reconnecting what was always meant to be whole. This is the alchemy of the heart, not to change others, but to transmute your field, to return to coherence, to emit the frequency that dissolves the static, melts the fear, unfreezes the forgotten. You don't need to light a fire for the world. You need to tend to the one within. And when that fire is steady, not loud, not dramatic, but simply present, the universe takes notice. Reality reshapes. Conversations soften. Doors open. And people respond to you, not because of your words, but because of your vibration. Because the most powerful force in creation is not control, it is warmth. Practical exercise. Igniting the heart. Find a quiet, safe space. Sit or lie down comfortably. Close your eyes. Place one hand on your heart and one on your lower belly. Breathe deeply, in through the nose, out through the mouth, allowing the chest to rise and fall gently. Now bring to mind a moment, any moment, when you felt loved, seen, safe, even if it's small, even if it's imagined. Feel it not just in your memory, but in your chest. Let that warmth spread, let it glow. Let it move beyond your ribs, into your shoulders, down your arms, into your hands, through your spine, your legs, your feet. Let your body remember what love feels like as vibration. Now whisper gently to yourself, I am a vessel of love. I am a flame of peace. I warm the world simply by being. Stay in this state for a few more breaths, then open your eyes, not with urgency, but with calm presence, and carry that warmth into the world. Let it be the frequency behind your
actions. Let it be the tone beneath your silence. Let it be the fire that lights your path.
the power of intention, holding the frequency of creation. There's a quiet moment in the space between breath, not the inhale, not the exhale, but that still point in between. It holds no sound, no motion, no struggle. And yet, in that invisible pause, something immense is born, a ripple, a direction, a choice. That is the birthplace of intention. Most people misunderstand intention. They confuse it with desire, with longing, with wishing. They believe that to intend is to want something so badly that the universe must respond. But intention is not desperation wrapped in spiritual words. It is not a whispered hope or a dramatic plea. True intention is a frequency. It is an energetic command, not loud, not forceful, but so clear, so coherent, that the field has no choice but to respond. You see, the universe does not obey words. It does not respond to effort. It responds to alignment.
And alignment begins the moment you become one with your choice, not in your mind alone, but in your breath, your stance, your field. When you no longer hope something will happen, but know it already is. That is intention. It is not something
You send out. It is something you hold, not like a thought, like a tone. Think of it this way. A bell does not need to shout to be heard. It simply rings, pure, steady, unwavering, and everything around it begins to vibrate in sympathy. That is what real intention does. It becomes a silent resonance, and the mirror of life reshapes to match its rhythm. But most people try to manifest from a place of anxiety. They repeat affirmations through clenched teeth. They speak desires while vibrating doubt. They act as if creation is a negotiation. If I do this, then I'll deserve that. But the universe is not transactional. It is reflective. It doesn't give you what you perform. It gives you what you are, consistently, vibrationally, truthfully. And this is where the power of intention begins. With the decision to become the frequency of what you seek. If you want peace, you must emit peace. If you want love, you must vibrate love. If you want clarity, you must stand in clarity, even before the outer world reflects it back. Because intention is not about forcing outcomes. It is about entering a timeline with your full being, mind, body, emotion, field, and trusting that the moment you align, the rest begins to move. Thoth taught that intention is not made in the mouth. It is made in the field. It is the silent signature you carry when you are no longer doubting your own truth. When your heart is warm, your breath is calm, and your body is aligned. Intention becomes a living signal, one that bends reality quietly, but unmistakably. But here's the paradox. You cannot fake intention. You can speak it. You can even believe you mean it. But if underneath there is contradiction, and if your chest carries fear, if your belly holds hesitation, if your mind is filled with silent conditions, then the field hears all of that. And the result is static, delay, distortion. This is why manifestation often feels slow or blocked. Not because the field isn't working, but because the frequency being sent out is incoherent, scattered, confused. To hold true intention, you must simplify. You must let go of the noise, the proving, the pushing. You must return to the stillness beneath all stories and ask, what am I really choosing? Not what do I hope will come? Not what am I afraid to lose, but what am I now becoming? That is the shift. That is the ignition. Because when you become the intention, you are no longer waiting for it to arrive. You are already living it. You become the anchor. The tone, the silent call that tells reality. It's safe to match me now, and it does. But it's not instant. Not because energy is slow, but because you are still calibrating. Intention requires stability. It is not held once. It is held daily, not through effort, but through remembrance. This is why rituals matter, not for performance, but for anchoring. When you take time each day to breathe, to feel, to return to your center, you strengthen the frequency. You clear the noise. You renew the broadcast. Because the world is always listening. But it listens through the mirror of your consistency. 1. Clear intention held steadily can reshape your entire life, not because you fought for it, but because you became it. Let this truth settle. Let it drop beneath your mind, into your heart, into your breath. You are not chasing your future. You are remembering its frequency, and every time you remember, you live it. You walk like it's already real. You breathe like it's already here. You speak like you're already whole. This is the alchemy of intention, not to get but to align, not to want but to embody. So let your intention be simple. Let it be honest. Let it be something you can feel in your bones, in your skin, in your silence. Because when you carry it that way, and the world begins to respond without confusion, the right people arrive, the right paths unfold, the right energy flows in, not as a gift, not as a reward, but as a reflection. Practical exercise. Anchoring the intention, sit comfortably, spine upright, feet grounded. Place one hand over your chest, the other over your lower belly. Take a few slow breaths. Let your body soften. Now close your eyes and ask yourself, what is the vibration I choose to hold today? Wait for the answer. Don't force it. Let it come as a word, a sensation, a phrase, a feeling. When it arrives, repeat it silently 3 times. Feel it ripple through your body, from your heart to your belly to your spine. Now speak the intention out loud, slowly. 1 sentence, no more. Keep it clear, keep it true. Example: I choose to live in clarity. I hold the frequency of calm. I walk in wholeness. After speaking it, pause. Feel the silence after your word. Feel the vibration echo in your chest. That silence is where the intention takes root. Now move into your day, but not trying to force your intention, but simply being it. Let your breath carry it. Let your posture echo it. Let your tone reflect it. And watch what changes, not because you asked, but because you aligned. The trinity of power, aligning body, mind, and spirit. There is a hidden geometry within you, a sacred triangle, not drawn with ink or etched in stone, but felt, lived, breathed. 3 centers of power, 3 layers of being, body, mind, and spirit. And while they often feel separate, like strangers passing one another in the corridors of your life, the truth is they are not meant to be apart. They are meant to align. Thoth knew this. He was not called thrice great by accident. He was revered as master of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, the complete initiate. Not because he controlled all 3, but because he understood how to bring them into coherence. And that coherence, when achieved, unlocks a field of power that no single layer can ever access alone. You feel it when it happens. Those rare moments when your body feels strong, your mind is clear, your spirit is grounded. There is no conflict, no resistance. You don't have to force decisions. You don't have to search for alignment. You are alignment. And the universe moves with you, not against you. But how often do we live like that? More often, your mind wants something your body resists. Your spirit calls you to stillness while your thoughts chase 10,000 distractions. Your body cries out for rest while your ambition pushes through the fatigue. This is not alignment. This is internal war, and in that war, your vibration becomes fractured. The field can't find a clear signal, your intentions scatter, your rituals fizzle, not because they were wrong, but because the three centers were speaking in different languages. That's why so many people feel blocked, not because they aren't spiritual or smart or sincere, but because their inner system is out of sync. Like instruments playing different songs, the sound becomes noise, confusion, distortion. Thoth taught that manifestation does not begin with effort. It begins with unification. When your body, mind, and spirit say the same thing in the same moment with the same tone, energy moves, not slowly, instantly, because energy responds to wholeness. The body is your anchor. It holds the now. It feels what is real. It tells you what's true through sensation, tension, ease, lightness, weight. The body is always speaking, but we often override it. We push through pain. We numb the signals. We forget the body's role as guardian of truth. The mind is your architect. It creates meaning. It holds memory, language, logic. It maps the world, imagines the future. But left untrained, it loops. It spirals. It clings to fear and repeats old patterns. It creates structure, but without guidance, it builds cages instead of temples. The spirit is your compass. It holds
vision, expansion, knowing. It speaks in silence. It guides you not with noise, but with resonance. It doesn't argue, it doesn't push, it waits for stillness. And when the body is grounded, when the mind is quiet, the spirit whispers, and you remember. And when all three are aligned, when your body is relaxed and engaged, your mind
is focused but open, your spirit is tuned in, something clicks, a subtle shift, a deep exhale, a moment of yes. It's not always loud, but it's unmistakable. You feel whole, and that wholeness is magnetic. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to chase anything. You simply radiate clarity. And the field, which always listens, responds with precision. This is what Thoth meant by the thrice great, not a title of superiority, but a state of integration. A being who has harmonized the three planes, and from that integration all creation flows. But how do you do this in a fragmented world? How do you align when life pulls you in different directions? Deadlines, emotions, distractions, fears. You begin by listening, not to the loudest voice, but to the quietest. You listen to the breath. You feel the body. You observe the mind. You soften into the spirit. And you invite coherence, not with force, but with attention. Start with the body. What is it saying? Is it tense, restless, open, heavy? This is the first signal. Let your breath touch those places. Let your awareness soften the grip. Then come to the mind. What stories is it telling? Are they true? Are they kind? Are they helpful? If not, don't fight them. Just see them. Naming a thought is the first step to freeing yourself from its grip. Then open to the spirit. What is the deeper pull beneath? The moment, what truth is whispering beneath the thoughts, not as a concept and but as a feeling, a tone, a knowing? Let it rise, and as you bring all three into the same room, something will begin to happen. The breath slows, the jaw releases, the thoughts soften, a sense of returning to yourself. And in that space, you find your real signal. From there,
speak your intention. From there, take your step. From there, send your vibration. Not from effort, but from unity. Because when you do, your actions gain power. Your words gain weight. Your field gains structure. You become undeniable, not
through force, but through coherence. You no longer need to micromanage outcomes. You no longer need to doubt your direction. You have become the vibration you were seeking. And from that place, life flows to meet you. This is the trinity of power, grounded in body, focused in mind, expansive in spirit. When these three are one, you become a channel, you become a temple, you become a vessel of the all, not because you became someone else, but because you finally became whole. Practical exercise. The triangle of alignment. Find a quiet space to stand or sit. Take a deep breath and place one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Close your eyes. Now bring attention to your body. Ask, what am I feeling right now? Physically? Notice tension, temperature, position. Don't fix. Just feel. Shift to your mind. Ask, what thoughts are moving? Through me? Are they anxious, focused, scattered? Just observe. Now open to your spirit. Ask, what deeper truth wants to rise right now? You may feel a word, an image, a sensation, or simply space. Now breathe all three together, one body, mind, spirit, into one breath. Feel them merge, not perfectly, just honestly. Repeat softly to yourself, I am whole. I align my being. I move from coherence. Open your eyes gently and carry this unified presence into whatever comes next. Let your body act. Let your mind shape. Let your spirit guide. That is power. That is presence. That is the trinity of creation within you. The alchemist awakens. In you are the secret. You've come a long way, not across distance, but through layers of illusion, of belief, of identity. You've passed through vibration, through silence, through thought and breath and heart. And now, standing at the threshold, the question becomes clear. What if the formula was always you? What if Thoth's greatest secret of all, the one guarded in symbols, echoed in temples, whispered across centuries, wasn't something to find but something to remember? You've been looking for the code, the missing key, the exact method that would make the field obey. But now, in the stillness after the storm, in the quiet of your own breath, something deeper arises. It was never about control. It was about coherence, because when all layers of your being begin to harmonize, when your body is present, your mind is quiet, your heart is open, your spirit is rooted, you don't need to command the mirror of reality. You become it. You are not just inside the field. You are the field. You are not just sending signals. You are the source of the frequency. And this is the remembering that changes everything. Not because the universe suddenly shifts, it's because you do. And when you shift, the entire mirror bends to reflect that new alignment. There was never anything to force. The energy never needed convincing. It was simply waiting for you to stop, pretending you were separate from it. That's the paradox. All this time you've been trying to access the power, but the power is what you are. The formula isn't a ritual. It isn't a sequence of words or postures. It is a state of being, one that you carry naturally, effortlessly, when you return to the truth of who you are beneath the noise. You are the vibration that shapes the world. You are the breath that stirs the unseen. You are the silence that reorganizes reality. You are the fire that transmutes darkness. You are the architect and the mirror. You are the question and the answer. And the moment you stop chasing a future self and begin
living as the frequency of that self now, the gap closes.
the reflection changes, the energy obeys, not because you tried harder, but because you finally remembered who was sending the signal. This is the awakening, not dramatic, not loud, just undeniable. You sit more fully in your own body. You breathe.
As if the air is sacred. You speak fewer words, but each one carries more weight. You stop asking the field to become what you already are.
And the field, in perfect fairness, mirrors your becoming. This is the final secret. You are the formula. You don't use energy. You are energy in conscious form. You don't control vibration. You are vibration learning to sing in tune again. Every breath is a spell. Every step is an offering. Every thought is an instruction to the field. So what will you emit now? What will you carry into your next moment, your next conversation, your next silence? Because the alchemist doesn't need more theory. The alchemist needs practice, embodiment, repetition, remembrance. This journey has not made you someone else. It has peeled away the layers that kept you from seeing the you that was always there, steady, sacred, and powerful beyond thought. So stop searching, close your eyes, and let it land. You are the vibration. You are the mirror. You are the ritual. You are the code. You are the living formula of Thoth's forgotten magic, not lost in time, but alive in this very breath, waiting to be lived. Final practice, the mirror, activation, stand in front of a mirror. Not to judge, not to adjust, but to witness. Look into your own eyes, hold your gaze. Feel your breath move slowly. Feel your feet grounded to the earth. Feel your spine, your chest, your pulse, not as parts, but as frequencies. Now, say aloud, I am the vibration I seek. I am the alchemist. I am the flame. I am the formula. Don't repeat it to believe it. Repeat it to remember. Let your body feel the truth. Let your field carry the signal. Then in silence, hold that presence for a moment longer, and when you walk away, carry it with you. Let your life become the spell. Let your actions become the ritual. Let your frequency be the declaration that needs no words. Because you are no longer chasing power. You are walking as it. You've come far. Not across land or time, but through layers of illusion, through veils of forgetfulness, and into the heart of something eternal. And now, here you are. Not at the end, but at the beginning of remembrance. You've peeled back the noise, sat with silence, felt the vibration of your own field echo through thought, body, and breath. And now you remember, you are not separate from creation. You are not a visitor in this universe. You are its breath, its rhythm, its conscious pulse moving through form. The flame you've been searching for was never outside of you. It burns behind your ribs. It flickers in the space between thoughts. It glows in the warmth of your attention. You've touched it now. You've felt it. The stillness that speaks louder than sound, the vibration that doesn't beg to be seen because it simply is. This flame is not given to you. It is awakened within you. And once lit, it doesn't go out. Even if dimmed, even if hidden beneath layers of emotion, it waits, silent, steady, knowing. And now the field knows too, because your field is always speaking, whether in fear or clarity, in chaos or coherence, it sends out signals. Not in
language, but in frequency. And the universe, it listens without judgment. It reflects without delay. What you carry inside is not secret. It is architecture. It builds the mirror you walk through. So the question now is not, what will happen next?
but what will I choose to vibrate into being? This is the sacred responsibility of awakening, not to control life, but to honor it. Not to master energy with force, but to coexist with it, harmonize with it, dance with it. The ritual was never something you needed to do. It was something you were always a part of. Life is the ritual. Each breath is the incantation. Each moment of awareness is the offering. The sacred is not hidden. It is here, in your presence, in your attention, in the space you create when you decide to show up fully. You are the alchemist, not because you say so, because you remember. You are the formula, not because you memorized it, but because you are living it. And now the choice is yours. Not to be perfect, not to ascend, but to hold the tone, to walk with the flame inside you and let it inform your words, your silence, your thoughts, your presence. Let the echo continue. Let your frequency speak even when you say nothing at all, because the flame you carry is eternal. And now it is awake.